Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, beautiful and courageous women. Welcome to another episode on the channel. As always, I'm so happy and I'm so excited that you guys are here with me today. And in this video, we are going to talk about a little something called resistance. And maybe it's not a little something, maybe it's a big something for you, but we're going to talk about that today. Whenever you are making a shift in your life or making a change and you're stepping into possibility and new ways of being and you're breaking the old habits and your old belief systems, you are going to come across resistance. And you may be asking, well, what is resistance? Or I'm not really sure what resistance is. And that is exactly what we are going to get into. So I did a little bit of research to find out what was the actual definition on resistance. And on the website of American Psychological Association Dictionary, the definition that I found was generally any action in opposition to defying or withstanding something or someone. And in this case, it's something. So it's like a change, right? A change, a transition, a shift, just stepping into new ways of being and new possibilities. That's what we're going to focus on in this video. So what does it look like, right? What does resistance look like? And resistance looks messy. It looks ugly. It looks messy. It looks ugly, but it also carries a lot of wisdom. It's here to teach you to look at parts of yourself that need attention and also parts of yourself that might need to be healed. Perhaps you may not have dealt with and have always ignored. So it's here to teach you a lot of wisdom. Resistance shows up in many ways. It shows up as avoidance. It shows up as procrastination or delaying. It shows up as self-sabotaging behavior. It shows up as overthinking, keeping you in this analysis paralysis wheel, right? It also shows up as shiny object syndrome. So you're always being distracted by the next best thing, by the what's new, what's the shiniest thing available, like, oh, like a dog when they're chasing a squirrel, like, oh, squirrel. So it can show up like that, right? And it can also show up as perfectionism. So waiting for everything to be perfect and just holding back. The voice of resistance sounds a little bit like this. Maybe you shouldn't do that right now. Or maybe how about you do it later? Or how about you just don't do it at all? So those are a little bit of examples of how resistance shows up. There's many ways that it can come up. Simply, the voice of resistance, it just keeps you where you're at. It keeps you where it's familiar. And familiar is known. And because it is known, it's so safe and so comfortable. So essentially, you just become stuck. Like there's all these things that you want to do, but because you're so afraid and because you want to stay in the familiar. So essentially, there's just so much that you want to do, but because resistance shows up, it wants to keep us safe and comfortable. It's very difficult and almost nearly impossible at times to go ahead and do what you're setting out to do. So why does resistance show up, right? Why does it come up all the time? And the reason for that is that there's always this part of you that is going to try and keep you safe, keep you intact, keep you alive, and keep you preserved. It looks out for your safety and is always scanning your environment and choices for danger to help you survive. Emphasis on the survival part. And this part of ourselves is called the ego. This part of ourselves will always be on alert. And whenever you are making a shift, changing, stepping into possibility and unlearning of old habits and ways of being, this part of yourself senses danger because it's losing part of itself. It literally thinks it's dying. It doesn't have the intelligence to distinguish that it's not really dying, but rather that it's transforming. It's losing the ideals and the beliefs that no longer serve your growth, but it's gaining so much more. It doesn't know any better, but now you know better. What comes to my mind is that image on social media. I don't know if you've seen it, but I've seen it plenty of times, where there's this image of this child, and this child has this teddy bear, right? This child has the teddy bear, and it's really hanging onto it. And then there's an image of Jesus, and Jesus is here, and he has a bigger teddy bear. So essentially, he's telling the little girl to give him the teddy bear that she already has, so that he can give her something better, right? So what is being asked of this child is to trust, and you are no different. When resistance comes up, when this shows up for you, the same thing is being asked from you. The thing that is being asked from you is for you to trust and for you to surrender. Surrender and have faith. Have faith that there is something on the other line that's better for you, that's going to be more beneficial to your growth, that's going to take you where you need to be. So you get to trust and surrender. So now we're understanding what happens when resistance comes up, right? We're understanding what goes on, why it comes up. And now we want to understand, well, what do we get to do about it when it comes up? What do we get to do about it when resistance comes up for us? Like, what do we do? Like, what do we do? What does that look like? When those butterflies come up for you, when that nervousness, when you start to feel all that anxiousness, when you just feel like throwing up, like, you know, like just all this nervousness, that's your cue. That's your cue that you must go through, that you need to take that action step. And what does that look like? That looks like you going within, finding out what you need. Maybe that would be comfort. That could be feeling safe, needing to feel safe and secure. You can look in any of those kind of ways. And you get to look at what is the wisdom that is being offered to you. Like, what is it? So if it's comfort that you need, give yourself that comfort. If it's reassurance that you need, give yourself that reassurance. If it's that safety that you need, give yourself that safety. But you must follow through, because it is there when you follow through. And not only does your breakthrough happen, but whatever it is that you wanted that's on that other side, that as soon as you cross, that is where what you want is going to be available. That's where it's going to be. You know, in your comfort, in your safety. You know what's there, the familiar, right? The familiar is there. But on the other side, on that other side of possibility, that's where the gold is. That's where you need to go. That's where you need to be. That's why you're being pulled there. You're being pulled, and it's like it's this war, this chaos that's going on with you, because you feel like you can't go over, but it's calling your name. It's calling like, okay, come over, you know, like for me, it's Wendy. Wendy, come over here. Like, you need to come. And then there's that part of me that is like, oh, but I don't want to. It just feels scary. I don't know. And you know, all these thoughts and all these emotions. So what it looks like for me when it comes up, it's like, all right, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to tune in. I'm going to see what's going on. I'm going to address it and then move on. So it's like, in this moment, I am feeling so nervous. I am feeling like I'm going to be rejected, and rejection freaking terrifies me. It scares the crap out of me. But you know what? I accept myself. I am an acceptance of myself. And I know that, hey, like, I got me, and I'm not for everybody, you know, I'm not for everybody, and maybe not everybody's gonna like me, and that is okay. I'm gonna live. I'm not gonna die. Like, I'm going to live. I'm not gonna die. And that gives me the reassurance and the safety that I need, right? It doesn't mean that it's not gonna come up for you, because things like this always come up. Whenever you feel like you've gotten past one layer of resistance, there's something else that shows up, right? And it's true for a lot of us, but it's like shifting. So like, another example that I want to give is like making these videos. I'm gonna be real, like, honest with you guys, and just let you guys know that it freaks me out all the time. It really freaks me out. But what really helps me in like taking that step and doing this is because I know that my intention is clear with me. Intention is to help that one woman, that one girl that feels like there's something wrong with her. Because that was me. I felt for a very long time that there was something wrong with me, and come to find out, there's absolutely nothing wrong with me. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. And a lot of the times is there's a lot of information that we don't know, or things that we weren't taught. So because we're being pulled to grow, right? And sometimes we may not have the tools. That's what usually creates that chaos. Like, oh my gosh, like, I want to move here, I'm being pulled here, but I'm staying here. Like, this feels safe, this feels comfortable, and but I need to go there. And then there's like this resistance, there's this like push pull, and then it's like what you resist persists. So it's going to keep persisting, it's going to keep coming up constantly until you really tackle it and face it on. So it's like giving yourself that safety, that comfort, that security that you need, whatever that looks like for you. For me, it's always take a deep breath, Wendy. Tap in, find out what you need, and then let's go take a step. Sometimes you may even need a support system. I know for me that's always the case for the most part. I call up a friend and say, hey, I need you to hold the bucket right now. And what that looks like for me is like, I'm gonna just blabber off and then, okay, let's come to solutions. Because whenever you constantly just go around the problem and you're just involved in the problem, that's always going to be the problem. But once you shift from like, okay, here's the problem, but I want the solution, like what's the solution, and getting brave and getting courageous, right, to take that step, then that's where the breakthrough happens. That's when you get to cross over. And the biggest thing is remembering your intention, remembering your why, remembering your purpose. Why is it that you do the things that you do? Why is it that you're trying to do the change that you're trying to do? Is it to have a better relationship? Is it to have a better relationship with your kids? Is it to finally have connection with others? Like, what is it? And remember that intention. Make it so clear within yourself. Write it down in your mirror, get a big poster and write, this is my intention, so that you are constantly reminded of what your intention is. A lot of people like to call it your why. For me, sometimes why was too generic. So it's like, what do you mean why? And it's like, no, see the vision, like the possibility of what you want to create. It doesn't have to be something big. It's like, I want to go out and change the world. Maybe that is, but maybe you're not there yet. And it starts with your home. Maybe it's like, I want to have a better relationship with my kids. And that could be it for you. You put a poster, you buy a poster, you put it on your wall, you write, I want to have a better relationship with my kids. And that is your why. That is your why for shifting. That is your why for changing. Maybe it's, I want to fit into, I want to look and feel good. And maybe that's a health decision, right, that you're making. You can put that down. You write it down. I want to create better habits and a better lifestyle. I want to look and feel good, right? Whatever that is for you. But know that you get to choose. You get to see, what is the change that I want to make, that's coming from within me. And then once you acknowledge that, once you're clear on what that is, you get to take action towards it. So what is action, right? What is action? That's like having that courage of stepping over the line, stepping over into the future, into the possibility that you want, stepping over the line to get to that. And that's usually through resistance, right? When resistance comes up. So having your intention clear, right, of why it is, why is it that I want to do what I want to do, and having the courage and accessing, tapping into your courage and going and crossing over the line so that you get what you want. So now we're clear on what resistance is. We know that it's that part of us that wants to keep us safe, right? That doesn't want anything to happen to us. We know why it's coming up, and that's usually to prevent death, right? To prevent death of ourselves coming up, because we're trying to self-preserve. We're trying to make sure that we're alive and that we're surviving. We know what it looks like. We know what it can come up, what the voices are of it, how it can look like when it comes up. And now we know what to do about it. So what do we do about it? We tap into the wisdom that it's offering us. And we still get to stop, and we get to tap into courage and step over the line. I want to leave you with this nugget. When your mind creates a thought of, who do you think you are to be making this change, or you can't do it? Who do you think you are? The powerful you, the powerful, courageous you inside gets to say, well, everything, and who am I not to be? And I'm going to leave you with this. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on that notification bell so that you're notified whenever I post a new video. All right, lovely ladies, bye.